Absolutely nothing beats windshield time. Welcome back to Dan the Road Trip Guy, a podcast where we have candid conversations about life lessons learned on the road. I'm your host, BMW Enthusiast and road trip extraordinaire, Dan Neal. And now, on to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Should I call you Jonathan or Kumar? Because all I ever heard was Kumar.
Everybody kind of calls me Kumar for the most part. A few people will call me Jonathan.
Well, it's because you put a license plate on the front of your car that says Kumar.
I do. Yeah, so I mean, Kumar is cool. That's what most people call me. It's kind of what I've introduced myself to most people as, and I have it on the front of my car too, so everybody knows my BMWs when they're coming down the road.
Yeah. So I want to give you a couple minutes. So who is Kumar?
Well, my passion for BMW started as a young child, probably like 7 or 8. Just loved playing with Hot Wheels and all that stuff. Had a bunch of BMWs, and they always just captivated me by their looks and just being so distinctive versus a lot of other automobiles. And then, of course, car games and all that stuff continued. But as I got older and was able to actually drive them, fell in love with them. My first car actually wasn't a BMW, though.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
Hang on to that one.
Okay.
Are you from Cincinnati?
Yep. Born and raised. Grew up near the Milford area.
Okay.
And my dad is actually from India.
Okay.
My mother is American. She was born and raised here in Cincinnati as well.
Okay. They met here?
Yep. Met at a doctor's office, actually.
Okay. Yeah, what else? Yeah, well, you work at the BMW store?
Yes, I work at the BMW store. I've been there for almost 4 years now.
Okay.
Started off as a product specialist, so just kind of going over the features of the car, which there's a lot of on these cars now, especially. Then about a year in, they were like, well, we think you'd be great at sales, so I started transitioning into a salesperson, but still also do the genius stuff on the side as well. So.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I used to get, we used to use BMWs in One Lap of America. That was kind of our support vehicle, and every year it was like, okay, now I have to remember how to use this iDrive thing again. So
there's a lot of stuff on them, and it just continues to evolve, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, that's great. You have any hobbies outside of work?
I do, but most of them I think really revolve around BMWs. So.
Okay, well, we'll talk about those a little bit then. That's great. So you mentioned your first car wasn't a BMW. So what was that first car?
My first car was a Ford 500. It was 06. I had been working at McDonald's for a few years through high school and ended up finding one for like, I think it was $4,000. Financed a little bit of it and paid cash for the rest.
Yeah.
And it was an okay first car, but I actually had a lot of problems with it.
Yeah.
So for me, at least, found on road dead was the thing. So.
Yep. So you got that when you were like 16 to get around?
I was 17, yeah.
17,
yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you kept that?
I had it for like a year and a half,
yeah.
And then I had so many problems with it. Transmission went out and everything. So I decided that if I'm going to have this many problems with something, I might as well get something I actually want. So I had been working, saved some money, and I didn't even tell my parents. I just went and bought a 2004 330 Xi, and then that was my first BMW.
Oh, okay. So you bought that used here locally, or?
Yeah, some dealer in Fairfield.
Okay.
Wasn't the greatest car. It was probably a really crappy example, but
yeah,
it got me into BMWs.
That's not the blue E46.
No.
And you kept that car for?
So most of the next cars that I had, I was kind of an idiot. I sold a lot of them within a year or two maximum. So I think most of them I did have about a year.
Were they all BMWs after that?
Yep. Yeah, I haven't had any cars since then that weren't BMWs besides the Mini Cooper.
Growing up, family, did you take road trips, or have you been on a road trip yourself? I like to talk about road trips that really stand out.
So most of my road trips have been of my own doing, whether that's going down to the tail of the dragon with friends, driving some back roads. We also hit, I think it's called Appalachia, America or something. It's in Kentucky. That was a blast.
Okay. Where's that at?
It's up further in Kentucky. I can't remember the exact area.
Okay.
Off the top of my head. It's an old coal mining town, so they don't have a whole lot of anything down there, so they really appreciate the business, and they're trying to set it up
that's at, because I'm from Kentucky. So.
Yeah.
So out of that, any other big road trips you've ever taken?
I guess I did a fun trip with my cousin a few years ago. That was in my 335. We went down to Biltmore. That was the main goal of the trip.
Yeah, sure.
So we were down in Asheville for a few days. It's kind of a sporadic trip, but it was super cool, super fun. Had a lot of fun on the car.
Yeah, so you loved these model BMWs growing up, and did you always say, well, I'm gonna have a BMW?
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of the thing as a child. I grew up, and that's kind of what I wanted to do.
Right. And then you are the founder of, I think, Tri-State Bavarians. Is that correct?
That's correct, yeah. So right before COVID.
Tell me about that, how that started, and I've got a sticker on the car. So.
Yeah. So basically, about 4 years ago, about the time I started the dealership, I finally started to meet some really cool people in the BMW community around here. And there really hasn't been a whole lot of people down in this area that support BMWs because everybody kind of hates on them around here for some reason. So I kind of wanted to create something that would bring all the BMW owners together and build it into one big community for us local owners across the Tri-State, Kentucky, Indiana, and Ohio mainly. But yeah, it's grown a lot over the past few years. Didn't really expect it to blow up as much as it has. We have a little over, I think, close to 2,000 members right now. So not bad for just starting a few years ago.
Yeah, it's always fun to see the post out there and what's going on. There seems to be a lot of young people interested in BMWs, from what I can gather.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have a mix for sure of a little bit of both in the group, but it's fun getting everybody out there, different age groups, and experiencing what we all share as a passion for these cars.
Yeah,
so
that's on Facebook, right?
Yep, on Facebook. We're on Instagram as well.
So you've owned a lot of BMWs. I know that for a fact.
17 now, I think.
17. Wow, you may catch up with my brother and I's rates are going. Favorite one out of all that list?
Well, that's always a tough one for me because there's so many BMWs that I love, really. I would probably say my favorite one that I've owned thus far was probably my E90 M3, which I just recently sold. That's definitely one of the best cars I've ever owned. All BMWs, they really put a smile on your face when you drive them. But
they do.
Especially the M cars take it up a notch.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
won't be my last M car.
We just need to keep introducing the young folks to the BMW.
Oh, yes.
You started work at the BMW store about 4 years ago. Was that just, hey, I want to work at the BMW store, or what took you to get a job there?
Well, that's
other than your love of BMWs.
That's an interesting story too. So I had occasionally taken my car to service at the BMW store. Obviously, being younger, not making that much money, I really couldn't afford to very often. So really only went there for recalls and free car wash, stuff like that. But I had always wanted to work there. Through most of high school and most of my early adult life, I was working at McDonald's as manager. They wanted me to be a general manager, but it wasn't really the direction I wanted to go, so I continued to stay at the assistant level.
At the McDonald's?
Yeah. I had always kept applying at the BMW store, so for like years, I applied. I think for probably 5 or 6 years straight at least, I was applying every few months. Just to bug them and be like, get me in there.
It's me, I'm back.
So, and a lot of the people at the BMW store I had known from going into buy parts or going into service and things like that. So there was a lot of people that already knew me growing up as a younger adult.
Sure.
So it was cool. But eventually I started at Mercedes Fort Mitchell here in Cincinnati, or Kentucky, with a friend. And for whatever reason, a few months after I started there, BMW store finally called me and said that they would like me to come in for an interview. So I did, and that's how it kind of worked out.
Yeah, and so first off, you just helped people with the features.
Correct, yeah. Going over the specs and everything in the cars, how everything works.
Yeah. Which can be intimidating to some folks when they get in a car these days. Because
you kind of got to gauge it out to everybody, and everybody has a different, I would say, portion of the car they're going to use, and you kind of just have to dial that in and see what they're going to do.
Yeah. So you're a younger guy. This kind of off topic, but thoughts from you young folks on the EVs?
Well, I will be one of the first people to admit probably that I was pretty scared to see how the EVs would feel and drive, especially BMW, who has been such a great car company to design cars around the handling and the performance and everything. So my initial impressions, I thought they were going to be terrible, and BMW's blown it out of the water. I think people still don't like some of the designs, but again, you got to kind of separate yourself from that and understand that not all cars are for the enthusiasts. That's my biggest thing to people that say that stuff. BMW still makes great 3 Series, 5 Series that are still there for enthusiasts, but not every single model of BMW has to be built for an enthusiast.
Yeah, and I would agree. What I really like, and not anything against Tesla or any of those, but the look of the BMW EV, to me, still looks like a BMW.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't look like this
Right.
awful electric vehicle coming down the road. So.
Well, and that's what I tell everybody too. It's a combination of things. They still have the amazing build quality that we all know as BMW, and then you also have the performance. They still handle great for the size. You know, when you put yourself into the understanding that it is a 5,000 plus pound vehicle, sometimes they handle great.
Yeah.
I mean, they still feel like a BMW going around corners. Now, can you push them as fast as some other BMWs? No, but it still feels significantly better than any other electric car, I think, in terms of handling.
Hey, have you ever been down to Greenville, South Carolina, to the BMW plant?
Yeah, so we actually had to go down there for training when I first started, so I was on the track for actually 2 days down there, which was pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So we really enjoyed that. I got to see what the cars can really do versus just cruising around on the back roads here.
Yeah.
But, it's truly a phenomenal experience, and if you ever have the chance to go down there, everybody should go down there.
Yeah, for sure. Henry and I went down there a few years ago, so it was fun. You ever do any autocrossing?
You know, amazingly enough, I have not. I love to go fast on the back roads, and we do a lot of routes and stuff throughout the year for the group, but haven't done autocrossing yet. A lot of it falls into just my scheduling and so many things going on. You know, in sales, I don't get Saturdays off, so I typically don't do a whole lot on Saturday and Sundays. I'm usually catching up on other stuff sometimes. So,
for sure. Bucket list items. Young guy, do you have a bucket list?
I have a bucket list of a few most of them being BMWs, of course. A couple Porsches on there.
Yeah. What about something to do? Anything on your bucket list of, I want to do?
Traveling. I want to travel. I want to explore as many states and countries as I can at some point.
Good.
Like to take a European tour.
Yeah.
Go hit the Autobahn, all that stuff.
In a BMW.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe you can buy the next one over there.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Well, they don't even do that anymore now. You can't do the European delivery anymore. No. So it's just the Performance Center here, which is still good, but you can't take it up to the awesome speeds that they can do.
I was on the Autobahn in 79 with my brother, who you know, in a 1978 320i. And that was fun. Any BMWs wish you'd have kept? Oh, man, I wish I'd have kept that car.
Well, I think that hits all of us as car people.
Oh, sure it does. Everybody I talk to. It's usually muscle cars, though. Somebody wanted to hang on to a muscle car, you know.
I can say I don't have any regrets now. I mean, I've advanced a lot in life in the past few years and become a lot more successful. So
yeah,
I want to try new things. I don't want to limit myself to one car.
Sure.
You know, we all, I think, do that initially, and we're like, I'm going to keep this car forever. And I've said that a gazillion times, and here I am with none of those cars.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think I'm willing to try more things now. I'm without an M car or fun car, I guess you could say. Right now I have my 23 3 Series, which I love, but that's my daily. So eventually I'll be looking for another M car to fill the stable.
Sure. Hey, I know of one coming up for sale.
Oh yes, your brothers would tell me. But I'm torn. You know, I just bought the house, so I'm going to wait probably about a year or so before making another decision.
That's a price like a small house. So
yeah.
I told him he should just give it to his younger brother. I think you should.
Oh yeah, that'd be good.
Mention that to him.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards maybe going up to an M5 this time around. So the F90 M5, the new one, has really caught my eye since they came out. So I'm kind of thinking about pulling the trigger on one of those in a year or so, maybe.
Hey, one of my favorite questions to ask people is, if you could take a road trip today with anyone, living or deceased, who would it be? Where would you go? I know what you're going to drive, but which one would you drive? Tell me about that.
You know, I don't know. That's kind of a tough one. I'd never thought about something like that, so I'm not really sure who I would take. Probably some friends.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes that's the best. Just take a couple friends, because we've definitely done that quite a bit. But
yeah, if you had a week off,
I'd say I'd probably like to do just a road trip. Map out like a road trip throughout the country and see what nice roads we could come across.
Yeah.
Map them out and just explore.
Yeah.
Not really have like a set goal. Just kind of.
Yeah. We're driving on one of the best roads in the country. This is US 50 we're on, and 50 goes from Maryland to California. And I have to say, the stretch from Colorado to California even is probably one of the neatest stretches of road I've ever been on. I've been there a couple times, but it's just fun. And there's a section of it, it's called the loneliest road in America. So
really?
I would suggest that one. There's nothing out there. Absolutely nothing. Well, that's good. What else can we talk about?
Talk about my coding page.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about that. So you do have I guess today we'd call that a side hustle.
Yes, it's a side hustle.
Side hustle of coding BMWs. So tell us about that. Why, how?
Well, I have kind of set out as times went on with BMWs. Even before I started the dealership, I kind of learned as much about the cars as I can. So
okay.
I know a lot of stuff about multiple generations, not just one generation in particular, but pretty much all of them, I would say, something about them. But basically, I started to learn about the coding and the computer systems and everything probably when I had my second or third car.
Okay.
And started kind of learning how to set up things, because there's so many cool features and things that you can activate or deactivate or add to the cars should you want to. And a lot of these things are available from factory. They're just not programmed in the U.S. market.
Okay. Tell me something fun that you could code on this. This is an old 2008 328. Now, you could code off my TPMS.
Yeah, so you can delete TPMS if you don't want that. You can just do like a flat tire monitor. You can also code in windows to go up and down with the key. Wipers go back to the same position when you turn the car off.
Okay.
There's a lot of little fun things. Digital speedometer. So even for the older cars, there's still really a good amount of stuff that you can activate.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But also do retrofits, so if people want to add features that didn't necessarily come on their car, such as navigation or CarPlay.
Yeah, I saw that.
Backup cameras, alarm systems, I do all that stuff, all using factory stuff for the most part, except for the CarPlay, obviously, because some of these older ones didn't come with that, but we do try to keep everything in a nice factory setup.
You had a CarPlay in your E46, did you not?
Yep, E46, E90s, all had them. My M3 was an
Does
08.
that actually come with the heating and AC controls?
So you got to buy some of that stuff separate. Yeah,
I
so it would just be a different setup.
Yeah. Now this wouldn't take CarPlay, right? Because don't you have to?
Well, you have to replace this. Yeah.
You have to replace all this.
They make one now. You can cut this and make it look like a newer one, but I'm not really a big fan.
Yeah. I think I want people cutting on my dash.
No. I mean, if you don't have iDrive in the car already, I usually just suggest you can retrofit the iDrive. Of course, that's expensive, so a lot of people just do the double din down here. But
okay. Yeah. Is there a particular brand you like?
Not really. I try not to replace the screens.
Okay.
My solution is a box that just plugs into the factory wiring and everything.
Yeah. And
just adds everything to the car, but it doesn't take away from anything that you have originally. So you're still using all of your original components and controls.
Yeah.
Just a little box.
So how do people find you if they want some coding?
So I have all of my contact information in the group as well, but you can reach me at Kumar's BMW Services on Facebook. Just search for that.
Okay.
I also respond directly on my personal account too, so you can do that.
Yeah.
You can find Tri-State Bavarians on Facebook or on Instagram, and that's just Tri-State Bavarians. And my personal accounts, you can find me as Kumar with 2 R's, BMW on Instagram. That's my personal account. I post a lot of BMW content in there, as well as advertising and how to contact me for Kumar's BMW Services. But yeah, check those out and let us know.
Well, Kumar, this has been great. It's good to connect with young BMW enthusiasts, and we'll look forward to more adventures.
Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Dan the Road Trip Guy, and we look forward to having you back again next time. In the meantime, if you want to find me, you can find me on the internet at Danny, D-A-N-N-Y, Neal, Neal.com. Until we meet up again, keep having conversations and keep driving.